now, and it is also just on 7 o'clock, so we'll start the meeting. First thing to say, you will notice there are no microphones on your desks, on your tables. That apparently is for a trial to see if the owl picks up sound better than the woeful microphone system on the recordings. On with the meeting. First thing, apologies for absence.
We have no apologies for absence.
Wonderful. Then we can move on. Declarations of interest. I'm going to make a slightly odd one. I have a non-pecuniary interest in the one about the cemeteries, just because my parents buried at White Cemetery. So it's a non-pecuniary interest. Just got to declare it. There you go.
Yeah, okay. Then.
So again, my answer, my really cemeteries.
There we go. So a few of us impacted by that one. Ahead of discussion later in the meeting. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting. Are there any issues anyone would like to raise? No. Can we have a show of hands then if you agree with the minutes of the last meeting? Would anyone like to propose the minutes? Thank you. So Louis O'Leary, Councillor O'Leary, and Councillor Dickinson seconding it. Now can we have a show of hands to accept the minutes? Right, as far as I'm aware, there's no councillor questions that have been pre-submitted. There is one public question. I would invite you up to.
We've got two.
Two, sorry.
One that's been sent in via and an additional minutes. Christine's gonna
Okay.
say something. Honourial. Let me know.
Mr. Taylor, would you like to address the meeting?
Yeah, well, I suppose it does. Yeah.
Absolutely.
My name is David Taylor. I'm the co-founder and director of Weymouth Water Marinas Project, which is a organisation set up to address the issues of litter on the local coast. I'm here today as part of the TAP debate. Two parts to my statement. The first bit is I'm aware, obviously, there's a certain amount of money to be allocated to this, and what I wouldn't want to be another missed opportunity to make the town greener, and that actually is. A lot of the water is all on the beach. The whole point of the scheme, the refill scheme, is to get people to adopt a refill way of life, not just to drink water on the beach. But unfortunately, everywhere is on the beach. If you go away from the beach, there's no water anywhere. And there's been missed opportunities before when Wessex Water introduced their 4 water points. 2 of them were put on the seafront, 20 metres from existing taps. One was put 50 metres from the beach in Old Bond Street. The other one, the furthest one from the beach, is the one in Hope Square. So if you visit the town and go for a walk, then you've got to buy water. Moving forward to this year, £1 million has been spent on Radipole Gardens. When I asked them the other day if they could refill my water there, they said no, but I could buy bottled water from the shop, which doesn't seem to be conducive with the council's climate change policy. It's a shame it's been £1 million that they couldn't find out that money to put a water fountain in as part of the scheme, because the scheme's supposed to be future-proof in part. So going forwards with the actual taps on the beach runs from Overcombe to the coast, Weymouth coast runs from Overcombe down to Ferry Bridge. All the taps are actually situated between Greenhill, which runs where Greenhill and the Pavilion. So rather than spend loads and loads of money making all these taps lovely, I think they should be scaled back and have some proper taps. The taps that are on the beach should also be available to people on the prom. So when you're walking along, they serve dual purpose. At the moment, they're far too low. People can't put things under them. People just use them to wash their feet and stuff like that. I've even had people, when I'm using them to do the dog, the people come up and say, is that drinking water? Because they're literally, some of them are done like this. It's not very conducive to people doing. So I think if you're going to actually try as a council to address climate change and things like that, it needs to be the whole debate of whether these taps and the funding for the taps needs to look at the whole policy of providing water in other locations such as our parks and stuff like that, rather than spend all the money on the beach when we've got 30 taps and the rest of Weymouth hasn't got a single tap. That's basically it, really. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor. I believe the Assistant Town Clerk has a response.
Thank you. Thank you for your statement and your questions. I will email it to you tomorrow morning so you've got it as well. We take on board your comments regarding the placement of taps on the promenade. However, there is already, as you mentioned, a specific Wessex Water rebuild point situated by the King statue. And although they're not taps, most of the businesses in North Seafront do offer free water refill points as part of their business. The resort team will install a dog water bowl as per your request from email on the dog beach, so we can secure the tap that enters free water for the dogs. And we can certainly look to introduce taps at our facilities such as open toilets. I can't see that being an issue. And then a tap there. At Radwell Gardens, when the kiosk is open, I think there has been a slight miscommunication because the operators will be opening later this month as detailed in the information items of the reports, and they will be offering free water refills. So although there's not a tap, they will offer free water refills. I understand your frustration with lack of free water facilities across our open spaces. However, there is limited infrastructure to introduce these that aren't if the pipe work. There isn't infrastructure already there like there is on the beach. So to do so would be a significant project with a significant budget to go with it. And at this stage, we haven't been asked to do that. However, if members are minded to, officers could take that away and bring a future paper to committee.
Thank you very much. Right. With some people wanting to get home, I'm sure this evening, we're going to rejig some of the items. Yeah, so I'm coming to that in a second. So we will move the front taps discussion forward.
I don't mind staying for the whole thing anyway, I'm quite happy.
Right, next public question, I believe, is from Honorary Alderman Christine James.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everyone. I will stand up. I'm here to speak about the Weymouth Sea Swimming event, which is something I proposed last year while still on council, and it was agreed and taken forward. And Michelle has done an excellent job of bringing together a few meetings and inviting several people that want to be involved. And I believe somewhere on your report, you've got a number of people that have said they're going to be involved and come along and take part in this September. We decided on September because we felt there wasn't an awful lot that probably went on, but it was past some and all the other events, and hopefully with the right tide and hopefully the weather's going to be all right, this could prove to be a really good event. I've just said to Michelle, if it doesn't go as well as we think, then it's something that maybe we can say, well, tweak it a bit, try it again, or if it works, hopefully it'll be something we can take on. But I've lived here 27 years and I've always used the sea, I've always swum. But it's only been the last few years that I joined a group of swimmers, and I know Councillor Todd swims as well, and I think Tim he swims as well. But to go down to the sea at certain points and meet like-minded group of people of all ages, all sizes, all backgrounds, and be able to get into the water and swim and release the energy of the day, and whether you swim, whether you bob, have a conversation, it doesn't matter. And we all know it's great for your mental health, it's great for your physical health. So I think this ticks lots of boxes that the council are looking to push forward. And I hope that you all agree that the money that's been put forward for this is going to be well spent. I hope you can all support it. And I've already said that I'm happy to go down and help on the day to set things up, marshal or whatever. There are lots of groups that have committed to being involved. I think we've got a couple of singing groups. I think the RNLI have been invited, the WOAC have been invited, just anybody and everybody that swim or is on the sea or in the sea. And it's just to show everybody of whatever age group, whatever background you've got, that the sea is there, it's free, we can all use it. So I hope the council themselves will come down and support us as well, and I hope that it is a success. And I would like it to see it happen every year if possible. And while I'm on the subject, actually, Mr. Taylor just mentioned he started the Litter project. That you'd be a great group to be at that, to be present at that, because we've got lots of different people coming, and that would be another opportunity for you to be there and have a stall and say what you do as a group and how you can help. So anything that's environmental with the sea, I just would urge people to get in touch and come along and take part. So I do hope you'll support it. Thank you to Michelle Williams for all the hard work that she's doing. I believe it's going to be handed over to somebody else at some point to carry on with. But I'm hoping that we have nice weather and the tides are right, and that everybody comes out and enjoy swimming, bobbing, singing. we were going to look at a world record. I don't know if the Guinness World Record. We were looking at maybe Guinness World Record of the Okeechobee in the sea, because it's something that we will do in the sea, and it's good for your mental health. So thank you for giving me the chance to speak, and I hope you will support it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, so when we had our pre-meeting, we discussed bringing the Seafront Taps project up first. Is there anyone that disagrees with that? Fantastic, right. In which case, we'll move to item 9, Seafront Taps project, which we obviously just had a question and statement about. And the Assistant Town Clerk is going to introduce the item.
Thanks, Chair. For those members that frequent the beach, I'm sure you're aware that we have a number of taps along Seafront. You often see people refilling their bottles from them, washing their feet and hands for dog water, and also you often spot children playing with them. Currently, there are 28 tap points installed along Seafront. However, only 10 of these are working. 18 of them are in a state of disrepair and have been for a fair period of time. So it isn't something that's happened overnight. Some of them have not worked for years. Some have been in disrepair due to vandalism, and others just due to lack of maintenance from the previous council. There are 2 options before you tonight, and officers are recommending that we proceed and replace 10 taps like the light models and have them ramped. These replacements can be met from existing budgets. Members should know that historically we haven't paid for water from these taps, it has been unmetered. However, in recent weeks, Wessex Water have been doing some work and have become aware of this, and are installing meters throughout the supply so that we can rectify this historic issue. As officers, we feel that it's best to take a thoughtful approach to the number of taps installed. We can gauge how much water we do use and how much is going to cost the council in the future.
Thank you very much. Is anyone that would like to comment on this item? Actually, no.
Yes, thank you very much. I think it's, important to replace the non-working tap. Obviously, I think, Mr. Taylor raised a very valid point. And this point that, does relate to other items brought in this council, and it's around, there is an awful lot of focus on the town centre. Weymouth is bigger than Melbourne Regis, no offence, Councillor Atkinson. But over in Livermore and in Preston and that way, and Wyke and South Hill and all those other places, it would be good to get some form of, mind you, I don't know if I trust some of my kids in my ward with unlimited free water supply. But I think there could be work. And you mentioned Overcombe, I'm very pleased to hear that. But that neck of the woods is very popular with tourists as well, and I would like to see it more. I know there is some dispute over the lease of which part of Overcombe is ours and which isn't. But it would be good to see this rolled out in other parts other than just sort of the main Seafront beach.
Thank you very much. Councillor Atkinson.
Yes, I wonder, what is the appropriate distance for people to have to walk for a tap? I mean, if you go down to 10, I mean, that's probably acceptable. They'd have to walk, maybe 10, they'd have to walk 110 metres between the taps if they're evenly spaced out. They're not evenly spaced out at the moment because a lot of them are by greenlands. So will it be spaced out, and how far is it fair to expect people to walk to collect water?
Okay, thank you very much.
Just a quick question on the actual units themselves. How old are they? Are they naturally reaching the end of their lifespan, so to speak?
Absolutely. So they've been there for a significant number of years, and like I said, they've been since as a town council, we haven't introduced any new ones over the last nearly 6 years now, and they were there for a significant period beforehand, so they are really reaching the end of their lifespan. That's why the previous borough probably didn't invest in them. Might they're in the state disrepair that they're in.
Just picking up on Councillor Atkins' comment around the distance and the location of the ones that are currently working, and if you look, it's a map of the ones that are currently working, and I look at the density of the popular, what I would call the popular end of the beach, where the dog walking facility is, where the events are, where the attractions are, and in that area, as shown on page 1 of your appendix, and then on to page 2, really, which are the more condensed areas. There is a significant gap between tap 1, 2, and 4. 3 seems to be missing off of the number, and I'm not sure if that's a mission. or whether or not there is one in between. And I think I support replacing the 10 existing ones. This isn't a service that I want to see completely cut or lost. But if 3 isn't in between 2 and 4 as a working tap on that map, I do think we need to look at fixing one in that area, because that is a popular area of the beach. It's a condensed area of the beach, and I think the distance is too far. And I was interested to see some of the working taps still working, picking up. Mr. Taylor said earlier on in the introduction, is that there is towards the groin area of Greenhill, at least one of the taps that are up on the promenade, well, according to this appendix. But that's my only comment. I think we may need to look probably to increase that 10 additional, those 10 working ones, probably increase that up maybe to 12, 13 to, make sure there is adequate provision in the busy end of the beach.
Okay, thank you very much.
So just to clarify, the numbering is the actual tap numbers, not the 1 to 10 that are working. So there is a tap 3, but that is currently one of the unworking ones.
Right, so I would probably say we need to look at tap 3 and replace them. Thank you for the clarification.
Councillor Toff.
A couple of items. First of all, how come when we launched the whole water refill thing last year on the beach, and we had bottles and Wessex Water came down, how come we didn't review the tap situation then? Because that would have been the time when we tried to encourage people to actually refill, to have gone, actually half things aren't working. I just seemed a little bit, Anyway, the other thing was, is there a water refill point on the beach offices?
The nearest one to the beach office is, there's one, I think there's one on the beach, but there's definitely that one next to the King, really close to the beach office, next to the King Statue bus stop,
Right.
to Wessex Water.
Right. Also, I think when we do get these repaired, wherever they're located, we need to have them more clearly marked. With either in the season where we have flags up, so you know how far you've got to walk to get to the refill point. Because if we're going to encourage people, we have to make it absolutely as easy as possible for people to find these things. Because and also I think I don't know whether we could have perhaps on the beach office a map, or we get one of the maps that get handed out. I know there are maps, because I used to have them in the bid office. There are tourist maps. It would be really useful if somebody put all the water refill points on the tourist maps, so people who really are into taking their bottle with them would know where to go without a great deal of effort. Please.
Assistant Clerk.
With regards to the map, on all of our, as part of our Blue Flag Awards beaches, on all the entrance points, we have the wave maps, the RNI one, in the map, we have to include the refill points on those maps, so they're already there. We could certainly look to maybe introduce a web page, something that's free of charge, and people, if they wanted to in advance, have a look, see that they're there. And also as part of the refill campaign, they are included on the refill campaign.
Can I just ask one question? Are they supposed to be used all year round? Because I went to one of the nice big new sign, the ones with the big thing you put on the beach in the winter, and it wasn't working. So I'm assuming that's one of the ones. Are they turned off in the winter?
They are turned off in the winter, again, due to footfall and the issues with maintenance. So the issues that we have in the cost presented before you, we also need to consider maintenance costs. So in the winter, previously they have been kept on, they've been burst pipes and so forth because of the, the weather.
So you don't think it's a bit frustrating to have a big sign saying we've water refill point, and you traipse all the way around to the beach and then push the button and nothing comes out? It doesn't look very good for Weymouth Town Council, does it? It looks like it's broken.
Thank you. Michelle?
Yes, we will be putting dates on the signs, which was an error in our lot. But obviously we can look at whether the new taps that are implemented can be used a bit longer and with the same, but I don't know how it really into because of where they are based on the beach.
Thank you. Councillor Hope?
Can I just ask the assistant town clerk in relation to budgets? So is there a budget line to replace the current 10, or are we looking to use a reserve? And if there is a budget, would it go further to maybe replace an extra 3? Because I think looking at the appendix, I would support making a recommendation to replace tap 3, given the distance and the density of that area. And I think we also need to look at probably replacing somewhere in between 7 and 10 distance. And then probably replacing one between 16 and 20, because again, that's quite distance. So I would be happy to make a recommendation, but I just need to understand the budget first.
So the budgets of the 10 units can be met from existing maintenance budgets. Any more we wouldn't be able to stretch
So a request would need to go to finance and governance for
any additional.
any additional from the reserve. Can I make a recommendation then, Chair, that we move forward with replacing the 10 immediately? But requesting finance and governance for funding for the additional 3, the taps I just mentioned.
We have that.
Please, Mel. Thank you for letting me speak. I think it's helpful.
Joy. We'll get that up on the screen so that everyone can see what we're referring to. So what Ryan was just describing. So maintaining the 10.
So I'd like to propose a different sign instead of replacing like with like, because I don't think you should have to go down onto the sands to get your water. I'm sure you could make something that's got a tap on either side so that you can fill up your water bottle from the beach and from the prom. Because if you're out and you're not in flip flops, you don't want to go down onto the sand to fill up your water bottle.
So we've obviously had a proposal, yes, sir?
Didn't call for a second.
Are you happy to incorporate that, or would you like to go ahead with your first proposal and you ask for a second?
I think at the moment I would like to just stick to my proposal. The reason being is that we've got the budget to do these ones, and I'm cautious that we are approaching the summer season. So I need probably just a bit of further clarity before maybe changing the existing town clerk to ask when the work would be looked to carry out. Are we looking to carry it out before summer or?
Yeah, we are looking to carry out as soon as possible and we could do it in the case of 10 taps. However, if we were to look at them and install 10 larger taps, we're looking at more budgets, more infrastructure there, and obviously time scale as well, we'll have to go back and press.
And just to say, obviously, at the moment, people have commented that the taps are quite low. So part of this quote is to raise it, so they will be higher.
But not
Because obviously the sand has grown, so the taps will be raised, so that they are normal heights.
So just,
Please, can you clarify, Michelle, would you be able to fill up your water bottle from the prom, or will you have to be on the sand?
It depends along where you are along the beach, so from Green Hill that way, or well, actually from the King Statue that way, towards Green Hill will be easy because the promenade and the sand is nearer, but the other side would be an additional cost. And but then you've got to think of the further end, like the beach, the dog beach, it's from the sand to the promenade is quite hard, so how would you do 2 taps on different heights? It would have to be 2 taps on different heights because of the promenade and the level of the sand.
okay, so I think at this stage, so we've had a proposal from Councillor Hope. I think we're just getting it written up there. So-
We place 10 taps immediately and I think you can fund the third one for free additional.
Yeah. Is there anyone happy to second that proposal?
Can I ask a clarifying question? All that.
You need to go.
You need to find a second first. You happy to second that? So Councillor Atkinson is seconding. Yeah. I'll have discussion about.
Sorry, can I ask, the taps at the moment, am I right in thinking they work though? So there isn't a rush, so they're working at the moment?
They are, but they're
No, yeah, but the 10 are.
Yeah.
And we're just making them look nicer, so it feels like we're ready for the summer season in terms of them being functional. And then we might as well do it in one go, make them how we want them rather than
Let's just,
spending money now and
I think,
for no reason and then spending extra
I
money.
think I
later.
know what Michelle's about to say. So
Yeah,
let
well,
Michelle come in.
So the 10 taps that are working now are not necessarily going to be the 10 that we end up with.
Okay,
Because of the spacing, if you look, there's another appendix which will say where we propose to put the 10. So yeah, at some stage it might have more than 10 working, but the 10 that are working now are not going to be necessarily the 10 that we end up with.
but we have got a working solution for the moment. We have got in some
We've got
taps that
10,
work.
yeah. the other zone. In that zone.
Councillor Tom?
I think I agree with Louise on this because it's not just footwear you've got on when you need to go on the beach. It is a disability issue, and there are other people who are quite happy to be on the prom but don't actually have the ability to go on the beach, and we are denying them equal access to the refills, which I don't know. You know, it's a fact. So.
So if you look on the Refill app, which is nationwide international campaign, there are shops and most of the shops along the seafront will offer free water refills. So it's not that they can't access any free water refills. If you look online, McDonald's, well, but there's quite a few seafront shops that offer free water refills on the Refill app.
Well, they're open until tea time, not into the evening.
Guys, can we stop the shouting out?
Sorry.
Obviously, we've heard from both of you. I'll come back to you in a second. Is there anyone else that'd like to make a comment on the current proposal?
Oh, can I just say one more thing?
Sorry, we just need to go to a vote really on this now. So, what we've got replace 10 taps immediately and ask finance government for further funding for 3 additional. I think it's important to get to a vote and then we can move forward from that point. So we've got a proposal.
Chair, again, it's probably just worth clarifying for newer members, if the vote is lost, then it's the opportunity to make a new.
Got a proposer and a seconder was Councillor Atkinson. All those in favour of the recommendations written on the board?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8.
All those against? And any abstentions? Thank you, that is carried. Wonderful, right. We will leave as Honorary Alderman James has departed. We'll leave the Sea Swimming Festival where it was on there. And now we are on to item 7, the living cemeteries, with Ben to introduce.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to consider the current arrangements for the provision of living cemeteries within each of the 3 sites that Weymouth Town Council manage. Background to the paper is that we've got obviously those sites that we try and work as living cemeteries, and we're working alongside Dorset Wildlife Trust guidance to do that. One of the things that's come in this year is there's been quite a bit of feedback from various members of the public, some positive, some negative, in terms of the appearance of some of those areas. One of the things that's not helped the Green Spaces team this year is the sort of weather conditions. So obviously it's been wet and it's been sort of mild and wet at the same time, which obviously, as most of you probably see, there's lots of grass growth that has happened here, throughout quite a long period, which obviously makes sort of cutting those areas much harder, but also the grass comes back a lot quicker. The town council obviously looks across all its green spaces, not just the cemeteries, to increase biodiversity and habitats wherever possible and appropriate, and help any wildlife sort of that we might have within those spaces. As well as the living cemetery elements within those cemeteries, we also have what we call the lawns area, which is where the more recent graves and the current graves are prepared and people are buried. Those areas are cut regularly and kept much shorter. The map in Appendix A shows the 3 areas within the cemeteries that are managed as living cemeteries and allowed to grow longer. And those areas are cut once, possibly twice within the year to allow that to happen. One of the other things to put into the sort of mix in terms of how the graves are managed is the time and the effort from the Green Spaces team and the budget that goes with that. So obviously, given that the nature of the site, some of the maintenance of the grass can be particularly time consuming because of the way the graves are arranged in close proximity to each other within those areas. And this requires hand trimming rather than the mowers or ride-on mowers because of that spacing. So that can take a lot more time to be able to cut those grass short. So that hand in hand with the living cemeteries actually aids those areas being obviously cut slightly less, and that time can then be dedicated to other areas. From a climate and ecological perspective, the living churchyards and graveyards can obviously play a vital role in helping to increase biodiversity, increase the habitats and havens for wildlife, and whilst also providing a quiet place for solace and people looking for that tranquility and look after the nature at the same time. So the recommendation coming forward is that the committee agree to continue with the current arrangements for cemeteries maintained by Weymouth Town Council to have designated areas that are managed as living cemeteries.
Thank you very much. Councillor Dickinson.
I'm sorry, I feel really strongly about this. For a start, living cemeteries seems a slightly ironic, if not absurd title. And I'm sure that having overgrown areas in a cemetery, and I have been out to look at them a while ago, where one's loved ones are buried, can be described as calm and tranquil, which makes me quite angry. It seems to me there's been a bit of a huge cost-cutting measure here, and I think it's downright disrespectful. Cemeteries should be neat, beautiful places that honour the dead, not jungles. How the heck, and I quote from another item, corporate priorities, does it improve the well-being of the people of Weymouth when I've had numerous residents speaking to me, feeling quite upset about the whole situation. In my new role as Armed Forces champion, we have the Anzac Memorial Band arriving next year. They are hoping to visit 83 graves that are in the Melcombe Regis Cemetery. I do not wish them to see it all neglected. The Commonwealth War Graves Commission maintains graves and memorial areas right across the country, in fact, the whole of Great Britain. Couldn't it be that we perhaps mention it to them? Could they be asked to assist maybe in the maintenance or the costs? And I wondered if that could be looked into. Because I do not want my parents' graves covered in weeds and grass.
Thank you. I know it can be a very emotive topic. Councillor O'Leary.
Yes, thank you very much. I dealt with a case around one of the cemeteries in Weymouth a couple of years ago as a Dorset councillor. I had a resident very upset with their son's grave, well, the area around their son's grave had been left in a very poor state four times, so I'm not going to blame you. I don't think that it is right proper to allow cemeteries to become sort of an experiment for environmental causes. I think there are better places for these things to do. We have plenty of open spaces in green fields that we could trial these things in and have as open environmental corridors. The question of allowing verges to grow and wildlife, as they call it, to grow and whatnot, very largely this year to do with highway verges. This was a very bad year for verges to get out of control due to the weather. We've had, very wet weather followed by sunshine, which has meant that the verges this year were far more out of control than they've been in the last couple of years. Me and Councillor Hayter are inundated with emails, phone calls, people popping in to see him in the shop to have a rant and a rave at him. And we were inundated with them. And the first question I always ask when it comes to people that allow want verges to grow and be unkept and whatnot, would you allow your front garden or your back garden? Most people don't. Most of us have nice cut lawns if we have a lawn, because we believe it looks tidy and smart. I think we should do the same for the areas that we as a council manage. So I'm opposed to this policy.
No. Yeah, go for it.
Two of these cemeteries are in my ward, and whilst I realise it affects residents from all across Weymouth, Portland, all over the country, who have got relatives buried in. I've got to say, I haven't received any direct complaints about the state of cemeteries from any of my residents. I've seen fruitful conversation on social media, both from cases for and against cutting them. I think it's worth recognising and picking up on Councillor Dickinson's comments around the Commonwealth graves, that they are not an area that gets allowed under this policy. They're kept and maintained, as you said, by Commonwealth. They're tidy, gravestones are well looked after, areas are kept quite nice. And I'm kind of in a position here where I can see both sides of the argument. But what I don't think we've got tonight, is any evidence to support a decision. Now, we know the environmental benefits, we know the nature benefits of allowing this area to go. And those that believe it's a cost-cutting exercise by the council, I can tell you it's probably quite the opposite. Because when it comes to cutting these areas, a lot more work involved than basic maintenance cuts. And I know that from experience, because I believe the officers actually had an away day, team building day, cutting the areas back at the end of the season a few years ago.
Last week.
There you go.
Yeah, so but both myself and the new green space manager actually went out and worked alongside the guys in Malcolm cutting, and it was hard work. It's very thick and it's long grass. But as you said, the amount of wildlife as you're working through those areas, crickets, butterflies, all sorts of things that are living in that area, you'd be amazed if you actually went and had a look, what those habitats provide. But like you say, it's a very fine balance and it's getting it right. And that's why we brought the paper to councillors tonight.
So to finish up on what I'm saying, it's definitely not a cost-cutting exercise because of the time to cut it probably equates just as much as a regular maintenance cut. It's about doing what we think's right. And I would actually propose, because this paper is not, what we decide here is not going to have any implications now really till next year, next season. I would actually propose that we defer this decision and ask for a consultation to be run and questionnaire with our residents so that we've got data to make an informed decision on what our residents actually want, rather than listening to social media platforms and echo forums, which sometimes can be dominated by the very vocal in our community. So I'd be happy to make a recommendation that there's a deferral followed by a public consultation on the policy.
Is anyone happy to second that? Joe Leary, thank you. First to source, sorry. So, suppose we should, are there any comments to make on that at this point? Okay, sorry, Councillor Atkinson.
I'd like to make the point that I'm not against the policy, but has there been a biodiversity audit to see what the benefits are? Do you know what butterflies and crickets or has there been a bat survey, for instance? Has that been done?
Yeah, so in terms of, like it says in the paper, we're working alongside guidance from the Dorset Wildlife Trust, and we actually received a letter in support of what we're actually doing as a management to support those habitats. And like I say, there was certainly things like meadow browns, marbled whites, several species of grasshopper / cricket. I'm not an expert on those, but yeah, it's clear to see that there is a whole plethora of different insects and things which in the current climate with the whole CE agenda, they're declining fast, and those sorts of areas where we can support it would be very valuable, not just for those areas, but across the town for other pollinators and insects that will obviously help that agenda.
I think that it's an excellent idea to get the data. I also think the data that we do need is what wildlife might be there, but also the data that might be useful is what graves are there. So the Melcombe Regis Cemetery is the one that I spend the most time in, and that one seems to have the oldest, that patch on the map has got the very much older graves. The newer graves where people would go to mourn tend to be in the extension. That's where my relatives are, and my relatives from generations and generations back are in the original part of the graveyard. So I think it's certainly worth looking to see whether people are going to that patch to mourn by looking at the gravestones.
Yeah, and as it says in the paper, the areas called the lawns or the more recent graves, they are kept much lower. Yeah.
Councillor Taylor.
Just a quick question. In terms of initially when this was launched, what was the decision making by the particular areas that were selected in the first place? Was it due to where wildlife would naturally be attracted to, or was it like Councillor Pal says, where some of the older graves were?
Yeah, so obviously I wasn't in post in the green space area, but in terms of the areas, there's the older areas which will have far less footfall. So obviously those areas can be allowed to grow longer. But there are other areas within some of the graveyards where it might be slightly outside that area, but with these patches of wildflowers and native plants that have pollinate those areas, which could be left as well, which aren't directly on top of a grave or next to, that the green space guys will cut around those as well, so adding to the sort of feel of the area.
Thank you. If I can just add a comment, I completely get why it's emotive, and I completely see why there's different points of view. My mum was a biology teacher, so when I go along and see loads of wildflowers, it makes me think of her. So there are different.
My mother was an accountant, I don't have that luxury, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but this is why.
You've got it back.
This is why the proposal for the public consultation, in my view, makes sense, is that we can hear the views, take them into account, and then we can make
I'm
a.
crazy after that. I mean, we keep, you know, I mean, every time this comes up, you know, it would make me sound like I'm against what, you know, they're trying to do, and that is not the case, not what, I just think cemeteries, really?
Okay, well, we've got, thank you, and we've got a proposal up on the board that's been seconded. So it's defer until a later date to allow for a public consultation to be undertaken. Good wording?
I think, can I just check,
Yeah.
and you've got a good steer on some of the things that we want in consultation. Some of the points that Councillor Brown made around, the wildlife, you know, all that information needs to be in the introduction of the consultation, and the fact the age of the graves in the areas. People are really informed. I just want to make sure that stays here from committees.
100%, and just to, it's not a Weymouth Town Council only policy, this is a national thing, it comes through in all sorts of, you know, publications and things, so it's not just
So you're telling me right across the country, they think cemeteries are a good idea?
100%, yeah. I can send you some of the articles and things that are in the thing, yeah.
Can I ask where you would recommend instead? What would you have in mind for a place to let us?
Well, you know, Lockmore Meadows for a start, you know, surely that's a massive area for biodiversity, you know, I mean, surely that could be developed, I mean, that's massive.
Well, sorry, but we do need to go to.
Yeah.
So we've got the proposal up there, we've got a clear steer to the officers about what this public consultation would look like and what it involves. So I'd like to move us to the vote. So all those in favour? Yeah, we have that, done that. So all those in favour?
Yes, all
Thank you. Unanimous. Okay. If I let him up and speak in a second. So,
You're going over the football, it's what happened.
item 8. Item 8, a little more skate park costed options. And the assistant town clerk's going to introduce the item.
Thank you, Chair. At the full council meeting held in February this year, Councillor Hope presented a motion regarding this. Members voted unanimously and agreed for officers to progress the costed options report for redesign. This is what's in front of you this evening. Before you this evening, you have a paper that provides 4 cost options. The cost options detail all proposed to use the same site as the existing facility of the New Bridge Road. There are costed options in the report for a small refurbishment of the existing facility, a complete refurbishment using the same construction as currently used, and also 2 great concrete options, similar to what we have in place at the Marsh. Now we have the cost options, it's for members to determine the way forward. However, members need to be made aware that there is no budget currently allocated to redesign the skate park. If members are minded to proceed with either a complete new skate park or refurb of the existing facility, then we would need to consider where the funding would come from. Since are aware the new housing development at Littleworth would be a source of still funding
North.
within the area of Littleworth and Council O'Leary. However, historically, the council across its portfolio have only received approximately 30k seal funding every 6 months. Also, with seal funding, the council previously committed in principle to refurbish 1 public toilet block a year. There would not be enough funding to pursue these refurbishments and the skate park. The council do have around 400k's worth of unallocated funds for projects. However, this is to be spent across all priorities, and it's been agreed by full council to take any of this until the priorities of the council have been agreed.
Thank you. Councillor Leary.
Thank you. In regard to funding for this, there is £1 million associated with the development north of Livermore known as Bingham Park. I think associated off the top of my head is £475,000 allocated for new existing open spaces, including play facilities. I had a meeting last August with the section 106 officer. At Dorset Council around this money. They said the decisions on that money would be made at a later date in terms of allocation in consultation. With myself as the ward member. Neighbouring the ward member for whose county the would come under, which is Councillor Roland Tarr. It was then Councillor Ferrari as well, God bless him, Councillor Dickinson now, and also interested parties within the area. So I think it would be good if, once again, there could be a party of people involved in this project to go out and try and find that money. And I'd be more than happy to head that up. You know, there's not a massive rush for a new skate park, but we would like one. I don't want just a sort of a mini refurb. I think it's faultless. I think the metal concrete, the metal itself is long past its days of use for skate parks anyway, for various reasons I've explained in the past. So I would like a full refurbishment of concrete similar to the marsh. It would be a smaller scale mine because the land is situated on is much smaller than the marsh. But if it's good enough for Weston, it's good enough for Liverpool. So I would therefore like a full refurbishment of concrete, and I am very happy to go and try and find the money as part of the work with officers and other councillors that are interested in doing so.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on this item?
Thank you very much, Chair. I think obviously there has been public support for a refurbishment of the skate park. Slowly we went out and got this petition. And obviously it was then supported by this motion through council to get some movement on it. And it's, I think, the support tonight in the right direction will help the local ward members in Dorset apply for some of this funding that Councillor O'Leary was just spoken about, because it will show that the town council supports this idea, supports this development, and will help us find some of the funding towards it. Now, the idea of the original motion was to get the conversation on the table. It's now happened. We now have costings, we now have options in front of us. But similar to the last one, what we need is public engagement with which option to go. Now, I support Councillor O'Leary's views that's rarity before you say anything, I know. We get on quite quick.
Really?
But to me, not you.
But no, you know, I don't think a like-for-like replacement's the right option, the metal one. I think it has to be one of the options. The concrete, they are, when you look at the price really, it's not a lot in it to get a better developed skate park out of concrete, better use, yeah, and a longer life, is the right option. So I think what we probably need to do at this point, as a committee, is give an indication that we would support which options we'd like to support. I think we probably need to continue support talking to the public on those options and getting their inputs. Asking probably finance and governments to start setting a budget line that we can start putting money away for this project so that we've got match funding available to go out and find further external funding, whether that comes from SIL, whether it comes from 106, whether it comes from a national lottery grant. The fact that we've made a plan, made a way forward and got funding set aside to help with match funding, I think is the most sensible option at this point. Or if we didn't want nothing else, we could use the underspend from this year, but I know that's it for other things. So I'm being realistic, and I think we need to move forward with probably further consultations on options 1 and 2 at least.
Thank you. Let's see, there's a couple of other people. Assistant Town Clerk.
So in regard to section 106, section 106 monies would be a good option if Dorset Council agreed to pass on. Marshall's funded from section 106, although that was specifically for the skate park. So if you've got Dorset Council agreed specifically for the skate park, so with the help of some double taxes that we now got sat around where Town Council cable that might assist us.
Councillor Toft, have you next one?
The question's just been answered. I was going to say, how was Western paid for? So thank you very much. And I fully support it. I think anything that gives kids activity outdoors and not sat in front of the screen indoors is to be applauded and supported.
Absolutely. So councillor Taylor.
Yeah, as the sports and activity champion, the council absolutely 100% support sports as well, particularly the concrete options, could have been long lasting life and shows it would really mean business.
I can sense positivity in the room. Now we need to craft a recommendation. So is there anyone that would like to
Probably still on the planning committee.
put those brains together? Councillor O'Leary, I can see you're keen.
Yes, this council supports the principle of a full refurb following concrete following the concrete option with ongoing consultation,
Of a concrete option or the option 4, which was like full blown.
the full works. I was gonna say the full shebang, but it's probably not.
You can have that.
No, no spell shebang.
It's sprayed concrete.
Yeah, that's the option involves metal. I need to try those.
Of option 2 with ongoing consultation with residents. Or that, yeah, but residents, interested parties, because there are other community groups on this, it will be involved. And for, was it a budget item line to be added by finance and governance to start allocating funds for this? Oops, sorry.
That must be reworded to be requested.
Yeah, if we were adding that. Well, don't have that be done. Yeah, but we were to our meant to be.
And suggestion into this.
Tag team you
And
in.
the second, I think we need to instruct officers to start looking at ground conditions.
Yeah, I'm very happy to do that with them. It'd be good to have the sports chair involved.
So you proposed it work.
I think it forward. More like
Moving around community development. Patients. Sports England and things like that.
Right, anything else we need you or whatever here, please, Councillor O'Leary, are we happy with this? I knew
To start,
What was that?
That was.
You are-
Is in at the end.
We've got any-
Use in. Yeah, so I thought you were carrying on. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Yes, happy to those.
and then separately we can, with board councillors and.
Are you happy to second? You've already suggested that. Yep, so we've got a proposal, we've got a proposer, a seconder, wording up on screen. The votes. Well, actually, are there any comments? So I should do the best.
Yeah, I'd like to make a point that I'm quite favour what councillor Top said, but I would like to minimise the amount of money that Weymouth spent on this as far as possible, because I think Weymouth has got more pressing problems, not least poverty, which is a problem in Littlemore, as well as in Melcombe Regis and other places. So I would like to minimise the amount that comes from council costs towards it, and encourage councillor Leary to find external funds.
Yeah, that was, we were discussing grants and community officers to look into those. There are no more comments, we go to the votes, so all those in favour? Unanimous, thank you very much. Where are we up to? Andy, next one, item 10, working groups. Assistant Town Clerk to introduce.
Hopefully this should be a bit more than that. It won't be, but this was something that was discussed previously. The finance and governance report is like for like. We're asking the committee this evening to postpone allocation of working groups until the board council and the committee are better defined and agreed. As you all know, we always do have a CE working group that report into this committee because it's previously been agreed with council.
Are there any comments on, thank you, and are there any comments on this item? Councillor O'Leary.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me about this is there's two members of the CE working group, are also members of the neighbourhood plan group. I'm just concerned that we should try and do our best to limit the amount of duplicate people on working groups. Members. You know, some councils only sit on one committee. If you've got two people sat on two working groups, although they can vote, they are still very influential, so I would think it's best to limit the influence of unelected. If we had the same on Dorset Council and Harvest, we have always raised in the past, it's not something they're particularly keen on, but I do understand why we have. We would be keen, bear in mind to try and limit duplication.
So in response to that, as part of the terms of reference for each working group, that can include the number of members of the public. For example, see working group allow up to 5 members. So when it's setting up working groups, we can allow. I think it's hard. We are going to be revising standing orders because we're myself and Helen were in discussion earlier today about this particular subject, and to look at revising standing orders so the working group can select their members of the public. Overall, if there's any issues, it would be then become our responsibility, like ENS's responsibility.
Any further comments?
Right, just happy to propose as written in the paper.
We have a second, Councillor O'Leary. Any comment at this point before we go to the vote? Wonderful. Okay, all those in favour, please. Again, is unanimous. Thank you very much. And on to item 11. This was referenced in the question from Honourable Alderman Christian James earlier this evening. So this was titled the Weymouth Sea Swimming Festival, sort of renamed to Weymouth Waterfest. And I believe, Michelle, are you introing that? Yes.
I am, yeah.
Okay, sorry, Assistant Town Clerk.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I believe that Honourable Alderman Christine James has done a good introduction early on in the meeting. But as discussed, this report aims to present a proposal for the Weymouth Waterfest as per the project initiation document that was agreed last year. The objective is to seek approval from this committee for the outline project plan, and we feel that the project will give residents the opportunity to feel more confident in sea swimming and other related activities, as well as showcasing the local groups and clubs that we have in the area. The event will also promote physical and mental health benefits of sea swimming and related activities. This can be met from coming Oxford time and also coming projects.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any comments? No?
First of all, I'd like to obviously thank Honourable Alderman James for submitting this PID under the previous administration of the council. I was obviously the chair of services at the point this came forward and fully supported the concept of this festival. It's doing the right thing, in my opinion. It's bringing us a different offering of events on the shoulder months of the season for local residents and to attract tourism into the area. It can be met within existing budgets, and we can review its success to see if we want to continue it. I think really, it's at this point really a no-brainer. Continue to go ahead, see how it goes. And then hopefully this may become an annual event, builds year on year. So Joe, I'm happy to propose that we go ahead with the event as written on the paper.
Thank you. Would anyone like to second that? Councillor Toft, thank you. Any comments before we proceed to a vote? Wonderful. Right. All those in favour? Unanimous again. And thank you to everyone involved in setting that up as well. Well, that'll be a very positive event for the town. Thank you. Okay. Item 12, water quality monitoring project. I'll get my teeth in. And this was put through as a PID. And Assistant Town Clerk is going to introduce this.
There's a PID before you that Councillor Atkinson has produced. So Councillor Atkinson may be better placed with an overview of his thoughts on the PID.
Yeah. Maybe about 3 minutes. I think the bathing directorate in the UK and across the European Union defines a bathing season. For the UK, that's the 15th of May to the 30th of September. And the Environment Agency has statutory requirement to measure the abundance of E. coli and enterococci at indicators of sewage pollution in the sea during the bathing season. This is done at many sites around Weymouth, including Central Beach. no monitoring is done outside the bathing season, when many swimmers do choose to bathe. Many appreciate that the entry of microfrequency is likely to be abundant in the closed part of the year because of seasonal patterns in rainfall onto adjoining land. The aim of this project is to ensure bathers that the invariably excellent categorisation of Weymouth Central Beach by the Environment Agency holds throughout the year. And for the whole year. To do this, Weymouth Town Council needs to obtain measurements weekly outside the bathing season. The intention is to do this at a locale, probably near Weymouth Central Beach, bathed by the out of season bathers. The benefits to Weymouth Town Council are reassurance of residents and visiting bathers that the excellence of bathing water at Weymouth is maintained throughout the year against the widespread concern of seawater quality based on problems elsewhere. Secondly, residents are likely to the majority of these bathers, and so the principal beneficiary are residents. The project will contribute to the well-being of all who seek the health and well-being benefits of out-of-season sea bathing. My observation is well over 50% of the bathers are actually female. Good. It provides Weymouth a leading role in advancing water quality assessment for sea bathing in the UK. Hopefully, monitoring will encourage local investment in related facilities such as commercial post-swimming sauna and occurred widely elsewhere. These are present at Bow, East Corson, Coburg and Portland, but heavily booked and don't operate throughout the whole year. The cost of the specialist company to make the measurements is in the order of £2,500 to £3,800 for the coming season, depending on the selection committee, the specialist company that the council selects. The additional cost and benefit required by Weymouth Town Council office are to implement the scheme by collecting the samples and dispatching it as instructed to the company and providing results. And secondly, devising a means for access to the most recent data about 5 to 7 days after each sample, so people can see it. So that's in essence the idea, and I hope the committee agrees that this small measure there to all sea bathers and to promote Weymouth's commitment to environmental matters.
Thank you very much, Councillor Atkinson. It's very clear you've brought into this and had a lot of knowledge on the topic as well. So thank you for sharing that with us. So we've got the officer recommendation is right at the top of the screen there. That the committee agrees to recommend the project officers produce a project plan to determine the actual costs associated with this PID as a project initiation document, and to bring this back to a future Environment and Services Committee. So the recommendation is really to give a steer to the officers about moving this forward. Would anyone like to comment on this? Councillor Toft.
As an all-year-round swimmer, I thoroughly support this, and I have moaned for ages that with the increase of open water swimming, which has noted since COVID has gone up extraordinarily. There are groups, more groups around the country now than there used to be, and people are swimming all year. I think it's actually the Environment Agency's responsibility to do this work. But since they're not, I think there's no real reason why we shouldn't do it for our residents. Because if it's highlighting when it's safe to swim and preventing somebody becoming ill at for the cost of £2,000, then I think that's not unreasonable.
Thank you very much. Councillor Adair.
I can't swim an inch, but I'm happy to propose it.
I can swim very well, and I think it's brilliant. I mean,
Is that you seconding? Any other comments on the proposal? Yeah.
Thanks, Chair. I fully support the concept and the idea. I can see the benefits, but I would just like to understand as part of the PID when this comes back to committee that we fully explore trying to get the Environment Agency to actually do this work.
Yeah.
I know it's only £2,500, but maybe we can go back to the Environment Agency and say, you know, we're happy to half fund it or do something because yeah, I think we just need the information back as part of the bid.
Yeah, just before we go to the vote, let's see Councillor Atkinson will come in.
I think that this would be a good idea, but it will fail miserably because they've already told me in another context that they won't do such things. And they did it here, they have to do it everywhere. They're short of resources, they're short of manpower, and there's lots of pressure because of all the other issues like sewage and rivers. So I think it's probably wasted effort.
So, thank you very much. We have a proposal, we have a seconder for the recommendation as written in your documents. So, all those in favour? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. At this point, we move on to item 13, information items. Councillors are requested to input any questions related to these in advance. Hopefully you've had a chance to read through them all. Lots of positive information and some points to consider. And in this juncture, I may close the meeting and everyone can rush back for the 30th. Thank you very much.